You just realized that you needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. When it comes to hiring, Indeed is all you need. Stop struggling to get your job posts seen on other job sites. Indeed-sponsored jobs help you stand out and hire fast. With sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates so you can reach the people that you want faster. And it makes a huge difference. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Plus, with Indeed-sponsored jobs, there's no monthly subscriptions, no long-term contracts, and you only pay for results. How fast is Indeed? Well, in the minute I've been talking to you, 23 hires were made on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. There's no need to wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/BWN. Just go to Indeed.com/BWN right now and support our show by saying that you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/BWN. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.
Hey, if you're like me, you don't exactly have a ton of time to shop for clothes. My wife is the same way, and she has introduced me to Stitch Fix. Stitch Fix is great. You just take a quick style quiz, share your size, your vibe, your budget, and boom, you're matched with a real human stylist who handles the rest. Stitch Fix sends you a fix box with clothes that actually fit and make sense for your life, work, weekends, whatever. Stitch Fix saves you time, you look great, and you don't even have to think about it. And Stitch Fix is no risk, all style. Try Stitch Fix clothes in the comfort of your home. Keep what works, send back the rest. Free shipping and returns always, and no subscription required. Plus, get a free try-on for your first fix. Get started today at StitchFix.com/podcast to get $20 off your first order, and Stitch Fix will waive your styling fee. That's StitchFix.com/podcast. And away we go. Episode 1150 of the Al Galdi podcast. It is Monday, September 8th, 2025, and it is a Victory Monday. And don't forget, a Tell the Truth Monday. And the truth is that the Commanders won their 2025 regular season opener. Commanders 21, New York Giants 6. A 15-point win for the Commanders at Northwest Stadium on Sunday afternoon in Week 1 of the NFL's 2025 regular season, in which the Commanders have a game this Thursday night. Commanders at the Green Bay Packers on Thursday Night Football this Thursday night at 8:15. The Packers beat the Detroit Lions 27-13 on Sunday. This week is going to be a whirlwind. This week is going to go by fast, but the week has started with the Commanders winning their regular season opener with, yes, an imperfect performance, but 1-0 is so much better than 0-1. Here was Commanders head coach Dan Quinn to his team in a victorious locker room after Sunday afternoon's win.
Hey, we called on it to be a line of scrimmage game, and it damn sure was. All right? And we said that's how it's got to go down. It's a good division win, man. We thought all the way at the end, all right, for a 4-minute drive, that's running, that's hitting, that's brotherhood, and it's winning time. All right, so sleep fast. Wednesday's tomorrow.
Yeah, Monday is being treated like a Wednesday in the lead up to a game on a Sunday because the Commanders play on Thursday. Hello and welcome to this Monday installment of the Al Galdi podcast, on which we talk Commanders on every episode, no matter the time of year. This is the podcast that follows Washington, D.C. area sports so that you don't have to. This is a podcast for which there is a new episode each weekday, Monday through Friday, with each episode out by 5 a.m. Eastern, and often so much earlier than that. Coming up on the show, we post-game the Commanders' 21-6 win over the Giants. Next segment, why the game actually is a great sign of progress for Washington. Also a breakdown of the Commanders' sloppiness in the game, and analysis of the performance of quarterback Jayden Daniels. The following segment, discussion of receivers Deebo Samuel Sr. and Terry McLaurin, running backs Jacory, Croskey-Merritt, and Austin Ekeler, the Commanders' defense, and more. A lot for you off the Commanders' win over the Giants. Also on the show, college football, week 2 of the 2025 season. We had all 7 of the FBS teams of the Mid-Atlantic Mid-Atlantic region in action over Friday night and Saturday. I'll give you my thoughts on each game, including more defensive dominance from Maryland and a bad loss for Virginia Tech. The hot seat for Hokies head coach Brent Pry now even hotter. And on the show, we'll talk Nationals and Orioles. Each team over the weekend won 2 out of 3 games against one of the best teams in the National League. The Nats won 2 out of 3 games at the Chicago Cubs. The O's won 2 out of 3 games against the Los Angeles Dodgers at Oriole Park at Camden Yards, with each win a walk-off win. Also, during our Nats segment, we'll reflect on the amazing baseball life of Davey Johnson, as we on Saturday morning learned that former Orioles second baseman, former Orioles manager, and former Nats manager Davey Johnson had died. He was 82. You can hit me up on X at Al Galdi. You can email me, the Al Galdi podcast at yahoo.com. Plenty of feedback on the Commanders' win over the Giants from Jim D on X. Good to win while knocking off the rust. Bill, the rushing offense and the defense had a whale of a day. Thank you for that, Jim. From Mike on X. Our defense usually would have let us down in the past. I love the upgrades and especially the pass rush. Thank you for that, Mike. Yeah, the pass rush was outstanding. From Troy Carl on X. Al, you know we would have found a way to lose this type of game in the past. Thank you for that, Troy. From DC Pac-Man. Even with the penalties, the team looked competent and able to do whatever the team wanted to do whenever it wanted. Thank you for that, DC Pac-Man. From Navy B. Young on X. All I can say is Bill. Thank you for that, Navy B. Young. From Burgundy Bob on X. Beating a team that has had your number the last few years and basically controlling the whole game is a great step forward. Exercising demons game by game. Thank you for that, Bob. Yeah, Washington with this win improved to just 16-30-1 against the Giants since the start of the 2002 season. 16-30-1. The Giants were Washington's daddy for way too long, but the Commanders now have won each of their last 3 games against the Giants. Washington now has at least 3 consecutive wins against the Giants for the first time since the Redskins won 4 consecutive games against the Giants over the 1998 to 2000 regular seasons. A long time ago. Well, there are the Skins, and then there is your skin. The longest tenured sponsor of this podcast is Dr. George Verghese. Dr. Verghese is a board-certified dermatologist and Mohs surgeon. Operating under his direction is the Mid-Atlantic Skin Surgery Institute of Maryland, which has locations in Waldorf, Maryland, Leonardtown, Maryland, and Lexington Park, Maryland. Whatever your dermatological needs may be, call 301-396-3401 or visit midatlanticskin.com and make sure that you mention that Al Galdi sent you. The Mid-Atlantic Skin Surgery Institute of Maryland focuses on medical skin care, cosmetic procedures, and skin cancer diagnosis and comprehensive care. Dr. Verghese and the Institute offer free skin cancer screenings to anyone considered a new patient, and Dr. Verghese and the Institute offer advanced treatments for skin cancer, including painless and scarless skin cancer treatment. Also, if you are dealing with allergic reactions, if you're dealing with acne, psoriasis, or eczema, if you're interested in procedures like Botox, laser hair removal, or chemical peels, call 301-396-3401 or visit midatlanticskin.com and make sure that you mention that Al Galdi sent you. That's 301-396-3401 or midatlanticskin.com and make sure that you mention that Al Galdi sent you. For excellent and comprehensive skin care, contact Dr. George Verghese and the Mid-Atlantic Skin Surgery Institute of Maryland, and make sure that you mention that Al Galdi sent you. There are many ways to measure progress for an NFL team, but what happened with the Commanders in their 21-6 regular season opening win over the New York Giants at Northwest Stadium on Sunday afternoon is one of the greatest signs yet of how far Washington has come. The Commanders were far from at their best, and yet still won by 15 points and were in control the entire game. And yes, the Giants likely are not a good team, but also, yes, the Commanders are a very good team. A Super Bowl contending team. You know, there are some people who are afraid to use that phrase, Super Bowl contending team. The Commanders are a Super Bowl contending team. And that's not even just an opinion. If you go off the analytical projections for this NFL season, if you go by what Las Vegas odds makers are saying about this season, the Commanders are a Super Bowl contending team. Now, that can change, okay? But as things stand right now, the Commanders are a Super Bowl contending team. And what we saw on Sunday afternoon is what it is like to have a Super Bowl contending team. You know, in years past, we as Washington fans would have thrown a parade over a 15-point home win over the Giants. Now we have plenty of Washington fans complaining about the nature of this win, the sloppiness that was on display during this win. That is a sign of how far Washington has come. I am far more encouraged than discouraged by what we saw from the Commanders on Sunday afternoon, because the team was not at its best and yet still won comfortably. I at no point in the game was overly worried about the Commanders losing the game. The final score should have been more lopsided than it was, but the final score still was lopsided, and the Commanders were in control the entire game. Now, they do have a lot to clean up, for sure. The Commanders had 12 accepted penalties for 89 yards, not good. The Commanders had way too many passing plays that weren't made due to drops by pass catchers and/or inaccuracy by quarterback Jayden Daniels, not good. The Commanders botched their end-of-first-half offensive drive, not good. The Commanders called their third and final second-half timeout with 8:10 left in the fourth quarter, not good. That's bad timeout management. You want to save second-half timeouts for late in the game. But despite all of this, the Commanders won by 15 points against an NFC East rival. We, during Commanders head coach Dan Quinn's postgame press conference on Sunday afternoon, had this exchange between David Aldridge of The Athletic and Quinn.
Dan, how encouraging is it that you didn't need Jayden to be Superman today, you didn't need Terry to get 9 catches, and that a lot of guys who weren't here last year were the guys that really kind of put the game away?
Yeah, that was a big deal, and I love the run at the end and with Bill at the end. But you're right, Dave, because that's what it's going to take. You know, it's going to take all of us. So for guys to step in, I was pleased to see Deebo, get to kind of express that play of being aggressive. If you'd ask us, I would say we had too many, the 50-50 balls and drops and penalties that were not, what were normal there. But to know that we can lean on one another, and I know you've heard me say this before, but I do like our team, and that's how you have to win games some way, in different phases to go through it. And so to be able to lean in on the defense today, I thought that was a good sign.
Yes, it was. How did Jayden Daniels do in this win over the Giants? Well, he, to me, played well, though he in the passing offense clearly could have been better. Daniels went just 19 for 30, but he threw for 233 yards. He averaged 7.77 yards per pass attempt. That's very good. He averaged 12.26 yards per completion. That's very good. And him going just 19 for 30 was due in part to drops. The Commanders, by my count, had 3 drops, including 2 drops by tight end Zach Ertz. Ertz had 3 receptions for 26 yards and a touchdown on 5 targets. He also drew 2 penalties, but he also had 2 drops. Ertz on the Commanders' first offensive drive had a penalty and a drop over the final 2 snaps of the drive. This was the opening drive of the game. The drive resulted in a first quarter punt. The 6th snap of the drive on a 3rd and 5 for the Commanders at their 41. Ertz committed a 5-yard false start penalty, and the 7th snap of the drive on a 3rd and 10 for the Commanders at their 36. Ertz had a drop on a shotgun pass by Jayden Daniels, so the throw was slightly behind Ertz, but that's a pass that Ertz absolutely should have caught. And on a 3rd and 11 for the Commanders at their 40 with 9:33 left in the 3rd quarter, Ertz failed to make what would have been a tough catch on a shotgun incompletion by Jayden Daniels, so the play initially was ruled a completion, but Giants head coach Brian Daboll successfully challenged the play. So, you could say that wasn't a drop, but that to me was a catch that Ertz should have made. Also with a drop was receiver Jalen Lane, 1st and 10 for the Commanders at their 41 with 2 minutes left in the 2nd quarter. Lane had a drop on a pistol play action incompletion by Jayden Daniels. And yet Daniels still wound up with a number of chunk yardage completions. Daniels on the Commanders' 2nd offensive drive had 2 deep completions and a touchdown pass. The 2nd snap of the drive on a 2nd and 4 for the Commanders at their 17. Daniels had a 34-yard shotgun completion incompletion to receiver Chris Moore on a deep ball down the right sideline. Daniels made the throw while running to his right on a design rollout and made the completion despite taking a quarterback hit from linebacker Micah McFadden. And Moore did a nice job of staying in bounds and making the catch. The fourth snap of the drive on a 2nd and 2 for the Commanders at the Giants 41. Daniels had an 18-yard shotgun play action completion to receiver Noah Brown. And the 8th snap of the drive on a 2nd and 6 for the Commanders at the Giants 7. Daniels had a 7-yard shotgun touchdown pass to Zach Ertz on a bullet of a throw by Daniels. So Ertz beat linebacker Darius Muasau, who had just come into the game due to linebacker Micah McFadden being carted off the field due to injury. Also, on a 2nd and 16 for the Commanders at their 47 with 10:24 left in the second quarter, Daniels had a 16-yard shotgun completion to receiver Deebo Samuel Sr. and throwing on the run. 3rd and 12 for the Commanders at the 50 with 1:15 left in the second quarter. Daniels had a 21-yard shotgun completion to Deebo Samuel on a downfield throw. 3rd and 5 for the Commanders at the Giants 48 with 8:55 left in the fourth quarter. Daniels had a 19-yard shotgun completion to Deebo Samuel on a downfield throw. Are you noticing a pattern? A whole lot of Daniels to Deebo in this game. Jayden Daniels had a touchdown pass versus no interceptions. He committed no turnovers. In fact, there were no turnovers at all in the game. And Daniels was very impactful as a runner. 11 carries for 68 yards. Daniels on the Commanders' first offensive drive had good runs on back-to-back snaps. This was the opening drive of the game. The drive did result in a first quarter punt, but the second snap of the drive on a 2nd and 6 for the Commanders at their 24. Daniels had a 5-yard pistol read option run. Third snap of the drive on a 3rd and 1 for the Commanders at their 29. Daniels had a 7-yard shotgun scramble. 1st and 10 for the Commanders at the Giants 23 with 8:51 left in the first quarter. Daniels had an 8-yard shotgun run. 3rd and 6 for the Commanders at the Giants 28 with 7:25 left in the second quarter. Daniels had an 11-yard shotgun scramble, and also on the play was Zach Ertz drawing a 5-yard holding penalty by safety Javon Holland. 2nd and 10 for the Commanders at the Giants 13 with 23 seconds left in the second quarter. Daniels had a 9-yard shotgun run up the middle. 1st and 10 for the Commanders at their 20 with 12:06 left in the fourth quarter. Daniels had a 14-yard shotgun play action scramble, and on a 2nd and 17 for the Commanders at their 40 with 9:35 left in the fourth quarter, Daniels had a 12-yard shotgun run up the middle despite running right into right guard Nick Allegretti. Jayden Daniels played well. The criticisms, well, you start with Daniels committing a terrible penalty on the final snap of the first half. The Commanders' 5th offensive drive resulted in the end of the first half as opposed to points of some kind, as on a 3rd and 1 for the Commanders at the Giants 4, with 7 seconds left in the second quarter, Daniels committed a 10-yard intentional grounding penalty, resulting in a runoff that ended the first half. And the Commanders could do nothing about this because they had already used all 3 of their first half timeouts. A rare mental lapse by Jayden Daniels. Also, he was guilty of some inaccuracy. The Commanders' 3rd offensive drive resulted in a second quarter 3-and-out. Daniels on the drive had inaccurate passes on back-to-back snaps that resulted in incompletions. The second snap of the drive, 2nd and 9 for the Commanders at their 31. Daniels threw too high on a pistol play action incompletion on a pass intended for Deebo Samuel over the middle. 3rd snap of the drive, 3rd and 9 for the Commanders at their 31. Daniels overthrew receiver Terry McLaurin, who was wide open down the left sideline on a shotgun incompletion. And then there were the sacks. The Giants' defensive line, of course, is loaded with talent. Daniels did take 3 sacks, and they totaled minus 21 yards in lost yardage, so these were not the minimal lost yardage sacks that we saw with Daniels during his all-time great 2024 rookie season. And Dan Quinn, during his post-game press conference, admitted that at least some of the sacks were on Daniels. So during Quinn's post-game press conference on Sunday afternoon, had this exchange between David Aldridge and Quinn.
Your offensive line and how they kind of battled throughout the day against a really good front.
Yes, and that's kind of what we talked about going into the game. That's the the real strength of their team, and I really think their defensive line is going to be an impactful one. So there's times there's good pro, times I thought maybe we could have thrown it away, and take the incomplete, and that's still Jayden too to say, okay, this one's over, go to the next play. That's part of the competitor too. We're on the fourth downs or something, you keep it going. Maybe on second down, let's play for third down. And so he'll learn from that. That's one thing and I've learned from him over the year. Like, okay, watch out when there's something to fix. Like, he goes after it pretty good.
Yeah, interesting to hear that from Dan Quinn. But Jayden Daniels overall was good. The Commanders' offense overall was good. The Commanders generated 432 total net yards of offense and averaged 6.65 yards per play. That's good offense. The thing is, it could have and should have been even better. The Commanders went just 4 for 11 on third downs and scored just 21 points. And yet still, the team won by more than 2 touchdowns. This kind of performance, a suboptimal performance that results in a 15-point win, was basically unthinkable with our team just a few seasons ago, and yet that's exactly what we got on Sunday afternoon. Hey, are you looking to upgrade the heart of your home? Whether it's time to repair your gas fireplace, modernize your hearth, or simply add more comfort and style, Nova Fireplace and Stove is Northern Virginia's go-to expert for heat, safety, and home transformation. Nova Fireplace and Stove is a family-owned, fully licensed and insured company with over-the-top credentials, gas and electrical master's licenses, a Class A contractor's license, and a long list of 5-star reviews to back all of this up. Nova Fireplace and Stove has a beautiful showroom in Woodbridge, Virginia. That's where your dream fireplace begins. Come in and see Nova Fireplace and Stove's stunning displays, including custom fireplace glass doors and stone refacing options that can completely transform the look of your fireplace. From sleek and modern to rustic and cozy, Nova Fireplace and Stove has something for every style. And here's what else Nova Fireplace and Stove offers: gas fireplace service and repair, chimney cleaning and brickwork repair, generator installation, panel replacements, and water heater repairs, smoke detectors, security lights, and more. Every job includes a free in-home estimate, and for listeners of the Al Galdi podcast, Nova Fireplace and Stove is offering $25 off any service. Just mention this ad. Nova Fireplace and Stove only works in Northern Virginia and thus knows the homes, the codes, and the people. Your satisfaction is 100% guaranteed. So stop by the showroom, see what's possible, and let Nova Fireplace and Stove help you bring warmth, safety, and style to your space. You can also visit NovaFireplaceandStove.com. Nova Fireplace and Stove, where comfort meets craftsmanship and your fireplace becomes the heart of your home. More now on the Commanders' 21-6 regular season opening win over the New York Giants at Northwest Stadium on Sunday afternoon. Here was Commanders head coach Dan Quinn during the opening statement of his postgame press conference on Sunday afternoon.
Starting off with, thinking with the team after the game, I thought first things first, man, tough division win. And that's what division games are. All week you'd heard me talk about play style and identity. And if we get that part right, the other things can come, and that's what I was looking for first. There's plenty to clean up. I thought, prior to the next game, that part, but I wanted to make sure identity, toughness, physicality, like that is how we get down and how we play. We knew this would be a line of scrimmage game on both sides. Their defensive line, our offensive line, was going to be a battle. I liked how we took care of the ball. We did not create any, and so that's a big deal for us. I thought they did a good job of taking care of it. It didn't seem like it was in harm's way, but I thought the inside guys battled and the outside guys were going to get tested. And so that was defensively what I thought would happen. Offensively, I thought we hurt ourselves with some penalties that created some tough, to go, third downs to go. So we didn't get quite as many ops as I would have liked. But at the end, to finish with the ball at the game, that's the toughness, that's the winning time moments that we talk about. So that part I'm pleased with, but lots to clean up, but I'm pleased with the win.
So many of the Commanders' new players made impacts on Sunday afternoon. On offense, receiver Deebo Samuel Sr., running back Jacory Croskey-Merritt, left tackle Laramie Tunsil, right tackle Josh Connerly Jr. On defense, interior defensive lineman Javon Kinlaw and Eddie Goldman, edge defender Dietrich Wise Jr., cornerback Trey Amos, safety Will Harris. All of these guys stood out to varying degrees. All of these guys and others offer hope that Commanders general manager Adam Peters has upgraded the roster significantly with what he did in the 2025 offseason. Now, of course, we'll see. Time will tell. We're only talking about one game, and the game was against an expected to be poor team, but these guys did well. How good was Deebo Samuel in his Commanders' regular season debut? 7 receptions for 77 yards on 10 targets, 1 carry for 19 yards and a touchdown, 2 kickoff returns, a 21-yard return of the game-opening kickoff, and a 29-yard return in the second quarter. Talk about an all-purpose weapon. Adam Peters acquiring Deebo via trade with the San Francisco 49ers this past March for a 5th-round pick in the 2025 NFL Draft could be one of the steals of the 2025 offseason. Did you like the touchdown run? On a 1st and 10 for the Commanders at the Giants 19, Deebo had a 19-yard shotgun handoff end-around touchdown run with 7:09 left in the fourth quarter, broke through multiple attempted tackles en route to the front left corner of the end zone. Deebo Samuel had a really good training camp. He looked good in his limited work in the 2025 preseason, and he had a very good Commanders regular season debut. During Dan Quinn's post-game press conference on Sunday afternoon at this exchange between Barry Svrluga, columnist for The Washington Post, and Quinn.
Cliff said the other day that he was really impressed with Deebo as a receiver. You know all the other elements to his game. Do you get a sense from him that he's like, oh my God, I've got this cool new toy. Let's see how we can use it?
Yeah, he's a lot of fun to coach too. He plays aggressive and downhill. So we missed some, so we'll be wanting to look at those. But also the touchdown run of that was to me quintessential him. We've seen that movie, we know what that looks like, and how to feature it into this offense. And so I think that was part of the reasoning, with Adam and the trade and why it was such a good fit, because when you see what somebody can do and you know how to put that into the offense, that's like the blend of scouting and coaching to say, I know what a player can do and how we would do it. And so I hadn't known him, but man, it was cool to get to know him and coach him now and find out what he can do.
Yeah, and yes, it did stand out that Deebo Samuel had 10 targets, and the Commanders' number 1 receiver, Terry McLaurin, fresh off signing a contract extension, had just 4 targets. Now, perhaps the all-22 footage will show that Terry allowed for Deebo to be open, but McLaurin on Sunday afternoon had just 2 receptions for 27 yards on just 4 targets. And, of course, we have seen this many times with Terry McLaurin, him having a low-target game. This is how it can be with him. He's a very good receiver, but he's not someone who traditionally does well in separation metrics, and he is not one of these receivers who commands, no pun intended, 12, 14, 16 targets per game. And I do think that was part of the prolonged contract extension negotiations between the team and McLaurin. The knee-jerk reaction in the past has been to rip the Washington offensive coordinator or rip the Washington quarterback for Terry McLaurin not being targeted more. Well, you still want to do that? Okay? Do you still want to get on that horse, knowing what we now know about how good offensive coordinator Cliff Kingsbury and quarterback Jayden Daniels are? You still want to blame others for McLaurin only having 4 targets? Look, I think that Terry McLaurin is a top 10, top 15 receiver in the NFL, but I also think we have to be honest and accurate about what he is and what he is not. I think we have to accept that this is just how it is with him. He has games like this, but he also has plenty of great games, and I'm sure that those games are coming for him. Running back, Jacory Croskey-Merritt, the man known as Bill. How about him in his NFL regular season debut? 10 carries for 82 yards and a touchdown. No receptions on 1 target. Bill, on the Commanders' 4th offensive drive, had 3 carries for 23 yards and a touchdown. On a 1st and 10 for the Commanders at their 42 with 11:40 left in the second quarter, Bill had an 11-yard shotgun handoff run. 1st and 10 for the Commanders at the Giants 12 with 7:02 left in the second quarter. Bill had a 6-yard shotgun handoff run. 2nd and 4 for the Commanders at the Giants 6. Bill had a 6-yard shotgun read option touchdown run with 6:14 left in the second quarter. Also, 2nd and 1 for the Commanders at their 29 with 11:54 left in the third quarter. Bill had a 12-yard shotgun handoff run. And 2nd and 8 for the Commanders at their 5 with 2:34 2:35 left in the fourth quarter, Bill had a 42-yard shotgun handoff run. Jacory Croskey-Merritt very much looked like he belonged. And him providing that explosive 42-yard run, the kind of run that we rarely saw from running back Brian Robinson Jr. the last 3 seasons as the Commanders' RB1. How much did that 42-yard run stand out? I was surprised that the Commanders had running back Chris Rodriguez Jr. as a healthy and active. He, to me, has earned the right to be active on regular season game days. But as I've said with this running back by committee approach, it may well be that each game is different. So Rodriguez for the game at the Green Bay Packers this Thursday night could be active. Heck, could be the Commanders' leading rusher. Who knows? I do want to mention running back Austin Ekeler, 6 carries, 26 yards, 3 receptions, 31 yards on 3 targets. His 15-yard reception was tremendous. 2nd and 15 for the Commanders at the Giants' 34 with 8:06 left in the fourth quarter. Austin Ekeler, 1 snap after committing a 5-yard false start penalty, had an outstanding 15-yard reception on which he generated 22 yards after the catch. This on a shotgun completion by quarterback Jayden Daniels, and the next snap resulted in the Deebo Samuel touchdown run. The Commanders' defense on Sunday afternoon, dominant. It has not been often that we have said that about a Washington defense in recent years, but this was the case on Sunday afternoon. The Commanders' defense was dominant. This may have been the most encouraging thing from this game. Now, Giants left tackle Andrew Thomas was inactive of having suffered a season-ending foot injury last October. His absence certainly helped the Commanders, no doubt, but still, their defensive line in particular was so good, and the defense ended up having its way with the Giants' offense. The Commanders held the Giants to just 6 points, just 231 total net yards of offense, just 3.73 yards per play, and just 4 for 16 on third downs. The Commanders held Giants quarterback Russell Wilson to just 17 for 37 passing for just 168 yards, no touchdowns, and no interceptions. The Commanders pressured Wilson so much during this game. Wilson had a completion percentage of just 45.95 and a yards per pass attempt of just 4.54. Those stats for a quarterback are atrocious. Interior defensive lineman Daron Payne. He played like 2022 contract season Daron Payne. We have been begging for the return of 2022 contract season Daron Payne, and 2022 contract season Daron Payne was back and in full effect. 3rd and 12 for the Giants at their 30 with 2:52 left in the second quarter. Payne had a sack of Russell Wilson for a 9-yard loss. Payne split a double team en route to getting the sack. The Commanders got the sack by rushing just 4 players. 3rd and 14 for the Giants at the Commanders' 37 with 1:52 left in the third quarter. Payne had a batted pass on a shotgun incompletion by Russell Wilson. Daron Payne and Javon Kinlaw really stood out. During Dan Quinn's postgame press conference on Sunday afternoon, had this exchange between Commanders insider John Keim of ESPN and Quinn.
What'd you think of Daron and Javon in the middle there?
Yeah, I liked the intentionality of the work that I've seen from them, John. Like, I know Daron, was here and we got to coach him last year, but there was another space that he went to in practice and performance, and I'd just spoken to him. It was better, John. It was different. It was higher. It was more elevated, and he was just so locked in. And JK coming here with things to prove and back into this space, I was really pleased to see what they could do.
Yeah, Dietrich Wise had a really good game as well. I mentioned Daron Payne's sack coming via the Commanders rushing just 4 players on a 3rd and 4 for the Giants at their 37 with 13:10 left in the third quarter. Edge defender Dorrance Armstrong had a sack of Russell Wilson for a 2-yard loss, so the Commanders got that sack by rushing just 4 players. Per True Media, the Commanders on Sunday afternoon rushed more than 4 on just 26.7% of the Giants' dropbacks, and yet the Commanders generated pressure on 42.2% of the Giants' dropbacks, 19 of Russell Wilson's 45 dropbacks. So what about the job that the Commanders did on the Giants' number 1 one receiver, Malik Neighbors. So the Commanders held him to just 5 receptions for 71 yards on 12 targets. So Neighbors at one point during the game was yelling at Brian Dable. Did you catch that? And the Commanders' run defense was good. All of this talk about the run defense needing to be better, well, the Commanders held Giants running backs Tyrone Tracy Jr., Devin Singletary, and Cam Scatterbo to combined 15 carries for 30 yards. The Commanders' defense was dominant in this game. The nits to pick would be 2 things. Number 1, the Commanders did not generate any takeaways. And number 2, penalties. So the Commanders as a team had 12 accepted penalties for 89 yards. 5 of the penalties were by the defense. But still, the Commanders' defense delivered. Commanders' defensive coordinator Joe Wood Jr. has a lot to be proud of. Here was Dan Quinn during his postgame press conference on Sunday afternoon on the Commanders' defense in this win over the Giants.
Yeah, I really thought that was a strong performance. And you heard me talk about identity, the tackling. We didn't create the takeaways today, but man, seeing some plays down inside the 10-yard line, the red zone, the guys have worked hard at that. And for our new players that are added to our group, I thought that was a good, mix of what they can be, and J.K. and Will and Vaughn and some of the others that I spoke to post-game, just knowing they're a big part of what we're doing and how we're going to improve. So I was pleased to see, especially down in the low red zone. I thought that was the real game-changer part of this game. 2 stops down there, that was a big deal.
Yes, sir. The NACE Law Group, Accident and Injury Lawyers. It has been a Washington, D.C. institution for decades. If you feel that you've been wronged, if you think that you've been wronged but aren't sure, contact the NACE Law Group, Accident and Injury Lawyers, and schedule a no-obligation appointment. Call 202-902-7611 or visit WashingtonDCInjuryLawyers.com and tell the NACE Law Group that Al Galdi sent you. Founded in 1979, the NACE Law Group offers fierce advocacy on behalf of medical malpractice, birth injury, and personal injury victims. Led by the great Chris Nace, the NACE Law Group is focused on providing exceptional care and counsel for those who need such things the most. The NACE Law Group fights for what it believes in: you, your family, and your future. You with the NACE Law Group have an experienced advocate on your side. The NACE Law Group has secured millions of dollars in verdict and settlement amounts for clients to better enable them to care for themselves and their families. Call 202-902-7611 or visit WashingtonDCInjuryLawyers.com and tell the NACE Law Group that Al Galdi sent you. That's 202-902-7611 or WashingtonDCInjuryLawyers.com, and make sure that you mention that Al Galdi sent you. The NACE Law Group, Accident and Injury Lawyers. Time now to talk college football. Each of the 7 FBS teams of the Mid-Atlantic region played in Week 2 of the 2025 season, but just 3 of the teams won. One of those teams was Maryland. The Terrapins improved to 2-0 overall with a 29 win over Northern Illinois at CQ Stadium in College Park, Maryland on Friday night. The Terps extended their FBS best winning streak over non-conference opponents to 17 games. Maryland's defense was dominant. The Terps held Northern Illinois to just 9 points, just 3.87 yards per play, and just 7 for 20 on third downs. The Terps, over their first 2 games this season, have held opponents to combined 16 points, fewest points allowed by Maryland over its first 2 games of a season since the 2001 Terps held their first 2 opponents to a combined 10 points. Maryland has a new defensive coordinator. Head coach Mike Locksley this past March 25th announced the hiring of Ted Monachino as defensive coordinator / outside linebackers coach, and so far so good for him with Maryland. Maryland true freshman quarterback Malik Washington, he had a mixed game. He completed just 19 of his 35 pass attempts, though he was victimized by some more drops. He quarterbacked the Terps offense that finished just 4 for 12 on third downs. He had a third quarter lost fumble on a rushing attempt, but Washington threw for 254 yards, 2 touchdowns, and no interceptions. He had a yards per pass attempt of 7.26 and a yards per completion of 13.37, and he took no sacks. So here was Mike Locksley during his postgame press conference on Friday night on Malik Washington.
He had a tough game today. We got to help him with again, the drops showed up again like they did a week ago. And to me, as we start looking in each week, starting to plug holes and fix problems, the drops have been consistent the last 2 games. So we'll do the things we need to do here to ensure that the guys are making the plays we need to make. The run game was inconsistent. I thought it got better. If you look at the yards per carry, it improved. But the consistency of it is another thing that can help him. And those are things that we'll work on. Our third down offense, again, being in third and longs, third and mediums, we've got to be able to get things executed a little better. And just like I said, our defense played well, but the third downs, not getting off the field, causes them to play a few too many plays for us. And so, as with the young team, we'll continue to fix the things that show up on tape, make the corrections, and improve our teams.
All right, next up for Maryland, home to Towson, Saturday at noon. Navy improved to 2-0 overall, including 1-0 in the AAC with a 38-24 win over UAB at Navy Marine Corps Memorial Stadium in Annapolis, Maryland on Saturday. A successful 2025 conference opener for the midshipmen and over a game UAB team. UAB's head coach is former NFL quarterback and former ESPN NFL analyst Trent Dilfer. The game was delayed twice for a total of 2 hours and 6 minutes in the first half. This due to severe thunderstorms in the area. The game at halftime was tied at 24, but Navy won the second half 14-0. Navy's offense was great. The Mids had 463 total net yards of offense, averaged 7.85 yards per play, and went 4 for 9 on third downs. Navy quarterback Blake Horvath, he went 6 for 8 for 168 yards, a touchdown, and no interceptions. He took no sacks. He had 18 carries for 72 yards and 2 touchdowns. Navy running back Alex Teska, he had 15 carries for 111 yards and a touchdown and had 1 reception for -1 yard on 1 target. The negative for Navy was its defense. So the Mids allowed UAB to have 413 total net yards of offense, average 6.88 yards per play, and go 6 for 13 on third downs. So the Mids allowed UAB quarterback Jalen Kitna, son of former NFL quarterback John Kitna, to throw for 304 yards on just 22 completions. That works out to a yards per completion of 13.82. But hard to be too upset about a 14-point home win, especially given the delays in the first half. Next up for Navy at Tulsa, Saturday night at 8. The heat is on. Virginia Tech head coach Brent Pry. Tech fell to 0-2 overall with a 44-20 loss to Vanderbilt at Lane Stadium in Blacksburg, Virginia on Saturday night. Tech for this game was a 2.5-point favorite per multiple outlets and yet lost by 24 points, and the Hokies blew a 17-7 second quarter lead. They lost the rest of the game 37-3. Like I said, the heat is on Brent Pry. Tech's defense was so bad, the Hokies allowed Vanderbilt to generate 490 total net yards of offense, average 8.6 yards per play, and go 5 for 7 on third downs. Hokies quarterback Kyron Drones had a second consecutive rough game to begin the season. He completed just 17 of his 29 pass attempts. He over his 29 pass attempts threw for just 134 yards, so that works out to a yards per pass attempt of just 4.62. Drones did have a touchdown pass versus no interceptions, but he took 3 sacks. Although, in fairness to him, Tech's offensive line left a lot to be desired. Drones did have 10 carries for 70 yards and a touchdown when you take out the 3 sacks that he took. This is season number 4 for Brent Pry as Hokies head coach. He has taken Tech to a bowl game in each of the last 2 seasons, but his overall record as Tech head coach now is just 16-23. We, during Brent Pry's post-game press conference on Saturday night, had this exchange.
Brent, one national reporter, Ross Dellinger, called the situation in Blacksburg getting hot. Vegas had you as the highest odds of the first coach fired. How much pressure are you feeling at this point?
Yeah, I'm not. We don't. I tell the players to ignore the noise. I learned that a long time ago. This is not the first time that we've been in situations like this. So, the expectations here are to win. I get that. That's why I wanted to be here. I'm not happy with where we're at right now, not from a win standpoint, but I like this team, and we'll regroup, and there's a lot of season left, and I'm still excited about what we can do.
Well, next up for Virginia Tech is a rather interesting intrastate matchup, home to Old Dominion Saturday night at 7. The Virginia Tech ODU matchup has not been especially kind to the Hokies in recent years. September 2nd, 2022, Virginia Tech began its 2022 season with a 2017 loss at Old Dominion. September 22nd, 2018, then number 13 Virginia Tech lost at Old Dominion 49-30. 35 as ODU backup quarterback Blake LaRussa came off the bench and went 30 for 49 for 495 yards, 4 touchdowns, and no interceptions. Speaking of Old Dominion, the Monarchs, they improved to 1-1 overall with a 54-6 win over North Carolina Central at SB Ballard Stadium in Norfolk, Virginia on Saturday evening. North Carolina Central is an FCS program. ODU had 544 total net yards of offense to North Carolina Central's 237, despite running 2 fewer offensive plays than North Carolina Central did. ODU averaged 8.63 yards per play. North Carolina Central averaged 3.65 yards per play. ODU quarterback Colton Joseph, he went 19 for 24 for 257 yards, 3 touchdowns, and no interceptions. He took 1 sack. He had 11 carries for 57 yards and a touchdown when you take out the sack that he took. ODU running back and Georgia military transfer Traquan Jones, he had 5 carries for 163 yards and 3 touchdowns. A tough loss for Virginia. The Cavaliers fell to 1-1 overall with a 35-31 loss at NC State on Saturday afternoon. Now, this was a game between 2 ACC teams, but the game actually did not count as a conference game. UVA blew a 24-14 halftime lead. The Cavs lost the third quarter 21-7, and then there was a scoreless fourth quarter. Now, UVA's offense was really good. The Cavs had 514 total net yards of offense, averaged 6.85 yards per play, and went 13 for 19 on third downs. So UVA starting quarterback was North Texas graduate transfer Chandler Morris, despite him having left the Cavs season opening 48-7 win over Coastal Carolina at Scott Stadium in Charlottesville, Virginia on August 30th due to injury. Morris had a so-so game as a passer, but made an impact as a runner. He went 30 for 43 for 257 yards, a touchdown, and an interception, which was an end zone pick on the Cavs' final offensive play of the game. He took no sacks. He had 3 carries for 56 yards. A big game for UVA running back and North Carolina Central transfer Jamari Taylor. He had 17 carries for 150 yards and 3 touchdowns and had 2 receptions for 13 yards on 3 targets. But UVA's defense was really bad. The Wahoos allowed NC State to have 416 total net yards of offense over just 58 plays. That works out to a yards per play of 7.17. The Hoos held NC State to just 1 for 7 on third downs, but allowed the Wolfpack to go 2 for 2 on fourth downs. The Hoos got worked by NC State quarterback C.J. Bailey. He went 16 for 23 for 200 yards, a touchdown, and no interceptions. He took no sacks. He had 6 carries for 44 yards and 2 touchdowns. And the Hoos allowed NC State running back Hollywood Smothers, great name, to have 17 carries for 140 yards and 2 touchdowns and have 2 receptions for 13 yards on 3 targets. Next up for Virginia, home to William and Mary Saturday at noon. I mentioned Maryland playing this past Friday night. Also playing this past Friday night was Jame Madison, the Dukes. They fell to 1-1 overall with a 28-14 loss at Louisville. JMU blew a 14-6 third quarter lead, lost the fourth quarter 14-0. JMU won the time of possession battle by 14 minutes, 19 seconds, and ran 78 offensive plays to Louisville's 53, but had just 263 total net yards of offense to Louisville's 264. The Dukes had a yards per play of just 3.37. JMU head coach Bob Chesney played 2 quarterbacks in starter and redshirt junior Alonzo Barnett III and redshirt senior Matthew Sluka, who transferred to JMU off playing for UNLV last season and off playing for Holy Cross for the 2020 through 2023 seasons, during which Chesney was Holy Cross's head coach. Barnett went 15 for 25 for just 102 yards, a touchdown, and no interceptions. He took 4 sacks, including a fourth quarter sack strip for a lost fumble that was recovered for a touchdown. His 4 sacks totaled minus 25 yards, so he had 3 carries for 2 yards when you take out the 4 sacks that he took. Sluka went 3 for 5 for 35 yards, no touchdowns, and an interception. He took 2 sacks, which totaled minus 3 yards. He had 19 carries for 86 yards and a touchdown when you take out the 2 sacks that he took. Next up for Jame Madison at Liberty, Saturday evening, September 20th at 6. And speaking of Liberty, the Flames, they fell to 1-1 overall, including 0-1 in Conference USA, with a 34-24 loss at Jacksonville State on Saturday afternoon. Liberty had 534 total net yards of offense to Jacksonville State's 390, and yet lost by 10 points. So Liberty's offense was really good. The Flames had a yards per play of 8.09 and went 7 for 14 on third down. So Liberty quarterback and Coastal Carolina transfer Ethan Vasco mostly played well. He did throw an interception on the final snap of the first quarter, and he did take 4 sacks, including a first quarter sack strip for a lost fumble. But Vasco went 19 for 29 for 335 yards and 2 touchdowns. He averaged 11.55 yards per pass attempt and 17.63 yards per completion. That's outstanding. And Vasco had 9 carries for 48 yards when you take out the 4 sacks that he took. Liberty's defense shut down the passing offense of Jacksonville State, but got ripped by the rushing offense of Jacksonville State. The Flames held Jacksonville State quarterback and Kentucky transfer Gavin Wimsatt to just 6 for 12 passing for just 52 yards, no touchdowns, and no interceptions. So Liberty had no sacks, but the Flames allowed Jacksonville State to have 50 carries for 338 yards and 4 touchdowns. Next up for Liberty at Bowling Green Saturday evening at 5. All right, football season is underway. Summer grilling season may be winding down, but fall grilling season is coming. Now is the perfect time to get yourself or someone who you care about Omaha Steaks. And here is a great deal for listeners of the Al Galdi podcast. Visit omahasteaks.com for 50% off site-wide during Omaha Steaks' Red Hot Sale event. And for an extra $35 off, use the promo code ALGALDI at checkout. Omaha Steaks food is outstanding. Steaks, chicken, hamburgers, hot dogs, delicious desserts. All of it is so good. We just had the beef sirloin tips for the first time. Amazing. To all of my fellow meatheads trying to pack on muscle, get your protein from Omaha Steaks. There's no risk. Every bite is backed by a 100% guarantee. And you're supporting one of this country's great companies. Omaha Steaks is a family-owned company that has been America's original butcher since 1917. Treat yourself and your family or someone who you care about to Omaha Steaks and take advantage of the great deal for listeners of the Al Galdi podcast. Go to omahasteaks.com for 50% off site-wide during Omaha Steaks' Red Hot Sale event. And for an extra $35 off, use the promo code Al Galdi at checkout. That's 50% off at omahasteaks.com and an extra $35 off with the promo code Al Galdi at checkout. See site for details.
You just realized that you needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. When it comes to hiring, Indeed is all you need. Stop struggling to get your job posts seen on other job sites. Indeed sponsored jobs help you stand out and hire fast. With sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates so you can reach the people that you want faster. And it makes a huge difference. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Plus, with Indeed sponsored jobs, there's no monthly subscriptions, no long-term contracts, and you only pay for results. How fast is Indeed? Well, in the minute I've been talking to you, 23 hires were made on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. There's no need to wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/BWN. Just go to Indeed.com/BWN right now and support our show by saying that you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/BWN. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.
Hey, if you're like me, you don't exactly have a ton of time to shop for clothes. My wife is the same way, and she has introduced me to Stitch Fix. Stitch Fix is great. You just take a quick style quiz, share your size, your vibe, your budget, and boom, you're matched with a real human stylist who handles the rest. Stitch Fix sends you a fix box with clothes that actually fit and make sense for your life, work, weekends, whatever. Stitch Fix saves you time, you look great, and you don't even have to think about it. And Stitch Fix is no risk, all style. Try Stitch Fix clothes in the comfort of your home. Keep what works, send back the rest. Free shipping and returns always, and no subscription required. Plus, get a free try-on for your first fix. Get started today at StitchFix.com/podcast to get $20 off your first order, and Stitch Fix will waive your styling fee. That's StitchFix.com/podcast. The Nationals now have won 5 of their last 6 games, and in a season that has been as bad as this season has been for the Nats, you 100% take 5 wins in 6 games. The Nats over the weekend won 2 out of 3 games at the Chicago Cubs. Friday afternoon, an 11-5 loss at the Cubs in a game in which the Nats got out-homered 4-1. Saturday afternoon, a 2-1 win at the Cubs. Sunday afternoon, a 6-3 win at the Cubs in a game in which the Nats overcame a 3-1 ninth-inning deficit by scoring 5 runs in the top of the ninth. The Nats in MLB's 2025 regular season now are 58-84. That is the worst record in the National League East. That is the second worst record in the National League. But the Nats just won 2 out of 3 games at a really good team in the Cubs. The Cubs for this regular season are 81-62, third best record in the National League. Some big hits by the Nats in this series. The 11-5 loss at the Cubs on Friday afternoon. The Nats scored 5 runs despite totaling just 6 hits and working just 2 walks. But the Nats went 2 for 3 with runners in scoring position, and the 6 hits were comprised of a home run, 2 triples, a double, and 2 singles. The 2-1 win at the Cubs on Saturday afternoon. The Nats scored just 2 runs, totaled just 7 hits, and worked no walks, but the Nats went 3 for 6 with runners in scoring position. The 7 hits were a home run, a double, and 5 singles. The 6-3 win at the Cubs on Sunday afternoon. The Nats scored 6 runs, totaled 7 hits, worked 2 walks, and went 1 for 3 with runners in scoring position. The 7 hits were 2 home runs, a triple, a double, and 3 singles. 5 of the runs, 4 of the hits, and both of the walks came in the top of the ninth. 2 big homers by the Nats in that 5-run ninth. Robert Hassel III, he is the Nats starting center fielder and number 9 batter, went 1 for 3 with a solo homer. Hassel in that Nats 5-run ninth had a leadoff opposite field homer to left center field on a 1-2 pitch to cut the Nats deficit to 3-2. And Josh Bell, he in the Nats 5-run ninth had a pinch first pitch opposite field 3-run homer to left center field for a 5-3 Nats lead. How about what Dalen Lyle is doing right now? He is surging. The 11-5 loss at the Cubs on Friday afternoon. Lyle, as the Nats starting right fielder and number 4 batter, went 2 for 4 with a 2-run triple and another triple. The 2-1 win at the Cubs on Saturday afternoon. Lyle, as the Nats starting left fielder and number 5 batter, went 2 for 4 with a solo homer and a single. The 6-3 win at the Cubs on Sunday afternoon. Lyle, as the Nats starting left fielder and number 4 batter, went 2 for 4 with a triple and a single. Dalen Lyle for this regular season at the major league level, 275 plate appearances, OPS of 770. As for another key young Nats outfielder, James Wood, this was another underwhelming series for Wood, who Nats interim manager Miguel Cairo actually moved out of the number 1 spot for games 2 and 3 of this series. So the 11-5 loss at the Cubs on Friday afternoon. Wood, as the Nats starting left fielder and number 1 batter, went 0 for 4 with 2 strikeouts. The 2-1 win at the Cubs on Saturday afternoon. Wood, as the Nats starting DH and number 2 batter, went 1 for 4 with a single and 2 strikeouts. And the 6-3 win at the Cubs on Sunday afternoon. Wood, as the Nats starting DH and number 2 batter, went 0 for 3 with a walk. And so the struggles continue for James Wood. He, for this regular season, is number 1 among all qualified Nats players in OPS at .818, but his OPS as of games through July 3rd was .958. His OPS has dropped 140 points over the last 2+ months. The Nats starting pitching in the team winning 2 out of 3 games at the Cubs over the weekend was only good in 1 of the 3 games. So the 11-5 loss at the Cubs on Friday afternoon. Jake Irvin had another bad outing. He officially allowed 7 runs in 3 1/3 innings. He gave up 5 hits, which were 2 home runs, a double, and 2 singles. He issued 4 walks and a hit by pitch. He recorded 2 strikeouts. He threw 79 pitches, 45 strikes, 34 balls. So Irvin, in the bottom of the first, allowed 5 runs on a home run, a double, a single, a walk, a hit by pitch, and a sac fly. The homer was a 2-out, 3-run homer by Dansby Swanson to left center field on a 1-2 pitch for a 5-0 Cubs lead. The homer went a projected 424 feet per Statcast. Jake Irvin now for this regular season, 29 starts, ERA of 5.71, second worst ERA among all qualified pitchers in the majors. Nats starting pitcher Mitchell Parker has the worst ERA among all qualified pitchers in the majors, 5.87, and Irvin's first inning ERA is 11.17, by far the worst among all qualified pitchers in the majors, and yet still the Nats will not try the opener strategy with Jake Irvin. I do not get that at all. The 2-1 win at the Cubs on Saturday afternoon. Brad Lord bounced back from 3 consecutive bad starts. He allowed 1 run in 5 2/3 innings with 7 strikeouts. He gave up just 2 hits, which were a double and a single. He did issue 4 walks, so he threw 90 pitches, 53 strikes, 37 balls. So good to see him pitch well and at a good team in the Cubs. And the 6-3 win at the Cubs on Sunday afternoon, Andrew Alvarez made his second MLB regular season start. He officially allowed 2 runs in 4 2/3 innings. He gave up 3 hits, which were a home run, a double, and a single. He issued 3 walks. He recorded 2 strikeouts. He threw 87 pitches, 49 strikes, 38 balls. The Nats relief pitching in the team winning 2 out of 3 games at the Cubs over the weekend. Bad in Game 1, but good in Games 2 and 3, continuing this recent run of the Nats bullpen being so much better. The 11-5 loss at the Cubs on Friday afternoon, 4 Nats relievers officially combined to allow 4 runs in 4 2/3 innings. The 2-1 win at the Cubs on Saturday afternoon, 4 Nats relievers combined for 3 1/3 scoreless innings. Miguel Cairo with the Nats up 2-1 brought in his closer/ace reliever Jose A. Ferrer to work the bottom of the 8th, during which the Cubs numbers 1 through 3 batters were due up, and Ferrer tossed a perfect bottom of the 8th with 2 strikeouts. I so love how Cairo is using Ferrer, and I love how much Ferrer is thriving in this role of a closer/ace reliever. And we saw more of that in the 6-3 win at the Cubs on Sunday afternoon. 4 Nats relievers officially combined to allow 1 run in 4 1/3 innings. Clayton Beeter officially tossed 1 1/3 scoreless innings with 3 strikeouts, though he did give up a 2-out RBI single to the first batter he faced. But Jackson Rutledge tossed a scoreless bottom of the 7th with 2 swinging strikeouts. Mason Thompson did allow 1 run in 1 inning. He in the bottom of the 8th gave up a 1-out first pitch solo homer by Carson Kelly to left field for a 3-1 Cubs lead. But Jose A. Ferrer tossed a scoreless bottom of the 9th for the save, despite giving up a leadoff single and despite issuing a 2-out walk. Also, Miguel Cairo, during his pregame session with reporters on Friday, revealed that an MRI exam on Nat starting pitching prospect Jarlin Susana revealed a right lat strain. That's good news, we think. Susana, on August 30th, left his start for AA Harrisburg due to what was called right tricep soreness. So Susana, this past May, was diagnosed with a grade 1 UCL sprain in his right elbow. UCL sprain in an elbow, tricep soreness, each of those injuries can be a precursor to needing UCL surgery, but the MRI exam revealed a right lat strain. His season, though, may well be done. Susana, per MLB Pipeline, is the Nats' number 2 pitching prospect and is the number 69 overall prospect in baseball. Starting pitcher Travis Sikora, who per MLB Pipeline is the Nats' number 1 pitching prospect and is the number 45 overall prospect in baseball. He on August 20th underwent Tommy John surgery. And then there is the sad news from the weekend. And this actually is a topic that I could do during this segment or during our Orioles segment. And that's kind of the point. We on Saturday morning learned that former Orioles second baseman, former Orioles manager, and former Nats manager Davey Johnson had died. He was 82, and I hated seeing this news. Davey Johnson is my all-time favorite MLB manager. He had an incredible baseball life, and he is the most prominent person to have impacted both the Orioles and the Nationals. So you start with Davey Johnson as a player. He was a terrific player. Johnson played for the O's for the 1965 through 1972 seasons. He, over the 67 through 72 regular seasons, totaled 19 wins above replacement per Baseball Reference. He won the American League Gold Glove Award for second baseman for the 1969 through 1971 regular seasons. He, during his time as a player with the O's, won 2 World Series and 4 American League pennants. Johnson was the Orioles manager from October 1995 to November 1997. He led the O's to the playoffs in each of his 2 seasons as the team's manager, including an American League East title for the 1997 season. He won American League Manager of the Year for the 1997 regular season, and he, in fact, resigned as O's manager on the day on which he won the award. He resigned as O's manager due to a dispute with then Orioles managing partner Peter Angelos. Good times. Johnson was the Nats manager June 2011 to September 2013. He led the Nats to the National League East title for the 2012 season. He won National League Manager of the Year for the 2012 regular season. So Davey Johnson, as O's manager, won AL Manager of the Year. He, as Nats manager, won NL Manager of the Year. Johnson served as manager for 5 MLB teams teams: the New York Mets, the Cincinnati Reds, the Baltimore Orioles, the Los Angeles Dodgers, and the Washington Nationals. He led 4 of the 5 teams to the playoffs. He won the 1986 World Series as manager of the Mets. The 1986 Mets, one of the most iconic teams in MLB history, and that 1986 postseason, to me, is the greatest postseason in MLB history. 2 classic league championship series in the Mets versus the Houston Astros in the NLCS, and the Boston Red Sox versus the California Angels in the ALCS, and then an epic World Series between the Mets and the Red Sox, featuring maybe the most famous game in MLB history, Game 6 of the 1986 World Series. And in an item especially near and dear to this podcast, Davey Johnson is considered one of the first sabermetrically inclined MLB managers. He was an early proponent of analytics based off his time playing for Orioles manager Earl Weaver, who himself was one of the first sabermetrically inclined MLB managers. But rest in peace, Davey Johnson. Next up for the Nats is a 4-game series at the Miami Marlins. Game 1 Monday evening at 6:40, Cade Cavalli will be the Nats starting pitcher. Game 2 Tuesday evening at 6:40, Mitchell Parker will be the Nats starting pitcher. Game 3 Wednesday evening at 6:40, Jake Irvin will be the Nats starting pitcher. Game 4 Thursday evening at 6:40, Brad Lord will be the Nats starting pitcher. If you run your own business, here is a game changer, Square. Square is an all-in-one business partner that makes your day-to-day easier. Think of Square as the business version of a Deebo Samuel or an Austin Ekeler, an all-purpose weapon that can impact things in a variety of ways. So Square offers tools for every part of your business, from point-of-sale systems and payments to inventory and customer tools. Square brings everything together in one simple platform so you can stay organized, sell anywhere, and keep things moving. Square is easy to use. If you're not technology savvy, no problem. The software is incredibly straightforward and intuitive. You don't need special training. You can just set up Square and start taking payments quickly. Square is flexible. It adjusts to what you need. With Square, you choose the tools that you need and you use them when you want. No long-term contracts required. You could sell in person or online from one location or several. Square is built to move with you and adapt as your business grows. Square keeps up so you don't have to slow down. Get everything you need to run and grow your business without any long-term commitments. And here's a great deal. You can get up to $200 off Square hardware at square.com/go/Galdi. That's SQUARE.com/GO/GALDI. You can get up to $200 off Square hardware at square.com/go/Galdi. Run your business smarter with Square. Get started today.
You just realized that you needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. When it comes to hiring, Indeed is all you need. Stop struggling to get your job posts seen on other job sites. Indeed sponsored jobs help you stand out and hire fast. With sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates so you can reach the people that you want faster. And it makes a huge difference. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Plus, with Indeed sponsored jobs, there's no monthly subscriptions, no long-term contracts, and you only pay for results. How fast is Indeed? Well, in the minute I've been talking to you, 23 hires were made on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. There's no need to wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/BWN. Just go to Indeed.com/BWN right now and support our show by saying that you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/BWN. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.
Hey, if you're like me, you don't exactly have a ton of time to shop for clothes. My wife is the same way, and she has introduced me to Stitch Fix. Stitch Fix is great. You just take a quick style quiz, share your size, your vibe, your budget, and boom, you're matched with a real human stylist who handles the rest. Stitch Fix sends you a fix box with clothes that actually fit and make sense for your life, work, weekends, whatever. Stitch Fix saves you time, you look great, and you don't even have to think about it. And Stitch Fix is no risk, all style. Try Stitch Fix clothes in the comfort of your home. Keep what works, send back the rest. Free shipping and returns always, and no subscription required. Plus, get a free try-on for your first fix. Get started today at StitchFix.com/podcast to get $20 off your first order, and Stitch Fix will waive your styling fee. That's StitchFix.com/podcast. So the Nationals over the weekend won 2 out of 3 games at one of the best teams in the National League in the Chicago Cubs. And the Orioles over the weekend won 2 out of 3 games against one of the best teams in the National League in the Los Angeles Dodgers. So the O's won 2 out of 3 games against the Dodgers at Oriole Park at Camden Yards, with each win a walk-off win. Friday night, a 2-1 walk-off win over the Dodgers. Saturday night, a 4-3 walk-off win over the Dodgers, as the O's scored 4 runs in the bottom of the ninth. This in a game prior to which the O's honored the 30th anniversary of legendary former Orioles shortstop / third baseman Cal Ripken Jr. playing in his 2,131st consecutive regular season game, breaking legendary former New York Yankees first baseman Lou Gehrig's MLB record for consecutive regular season games. A miracle win for the O's. 30 years to the day of 21-31. Unbelievable. Sunday afternoon, a 5-2 loss to the Dodgers to end the Orioles' 5-game winning streak. The O's in MLB's 2025 regular season now are 66-77, worst record in the American League East. The Dodgers in this regular season are 79-64, best record in the National League West. How about the offensive drama by the O's in their 2 wins in this series? The 2-1 walk-off win over the Dodgers on Friday night. The O's scored just 2 runs, a total just 5 hits, and went 0 for 6 with runners in scoring position. But the O's did work 5 walks. The 5 hits were a home run, a double, and 3 singles. And Samuel Basayo provided the homer. He is the Orioles starting catcher and number 8 batter. Went 1 for 4 with a walk-off solo homer. He and an Orioles 1-run ninth. Smashed a walk-off 2-out solo homer to right center field on a 1-2 pitch from former Orioles reliever Tanner Scott for a 2-1 Orioles win. The homer went a projected 433 feet per StatCast. The 4-3 walk-off win over the Dodgers on Saturday night. The O's scored 4 runs despite totaling just 3 hits, which were a home run, a double, and a single. The O's worked 4 walks and went 1 for 3 with runners in scoring position. All 4 of the Orioles runs, all 3 of the Orioles hits, and 2 of the Orioles walks came with 2 outs in the bottom of the ninth. This was some rally by the O's. Jackson Holliday, he is the Orioles starting second baseman and number 1 batter, went 1 for 4 with a solo homer. Dodgers starting pitcher Yoshinobu Yamamoto allowed 1 run in 8 2/3 innings with 10 strikeouts. He tossed 8 2/3 no-hit innings, but then gave up a 2-out solo homer by Holliday to right field to cut the Orioles deficit to 3-1 and ignite the 9th inning rally. Emmanuel Rivera, he is the Orioles starting third baseman and number 6 batter, went 1 for 4 with a walk-off, 2-out, 2-run single. The 5-2 loss to the Dodgers on Sunday afternoon. The O's scored just 2 runs, totaled 8 hits, worked 1 walk, went 1 for 4 with runners in scoring position, and struck out 15 times. The 8 hits were 2 doubles and 6 singles. So the O's won 2 out of 3 games against the Dodgers over the weekend, despite 2 Orioles starting pitchers leaving their outings due to getting hurt. I tell you, the O's in this second consecutive season in which they are getting hammered by injury just cannot buy a break. The 2-1 walk-off win over the Dodgers on Friday night. Dean Kramer tossed 3 scoreless and hitless innings with 4 strikeouts versus 1 walk, but he left the game due to right forearm discomfort. The 5-2 loss to the Dodgers on Sunday afternoon. Tomoyuki Sagano allowed 4 runs in 3 innings. He gave up 7 hits, which were 3 home runs and 4 singles. 2 of the homers were by Dodgers DH Shohei Ohtani, who went 2 for 2 with 2 solo homers and 3 walks. Sagano issued no walks. He recorded just 1 strikeout. He threw 67 pitches, 42 strikes, 25 balls, but he left the game off a 1-hopper, striking his right foot. Now, the hope is that Dean Kramer will not have to go on an injured list. We'll see what happens with Tomoyuki Sagano. Starting pitcher Trevor Rogers did have another good outing. The 4-3 walk-off win over the Dodgers on Saturday night. Rogers allowed 2 runs in 5 1/3 innings with 6 strikeouts versus 1 walk. He gave up 8 hits, which were a triple, 2 doubles, and 5 singles. He threw a lot of strikes. See over 90 96 pitches through 71 strikes versus just 25 balls. A big-time reason for the O's winning 2 out of 3 games against the Dodgers over the weekend was the Orioles relief pitching. The 2-1 walk-off win over the Dodgers on Friday night. 5 Orioles relievers combined to allow 1 run in 6 innings. The 4-3 walk-off win over the Dodgers on Saturday night. 2 Orioles relievers combined to allow 1 run in 3 2/3 innings. And the 5-2 loss to the Dodgers on Sunday afternoon. 5 Orioles relievers combined to allow 1 run in 6 innings. The bullpen was leaned on a lot, and the bullpen came through. Orioles relievers in this series combined to allow just 3 runs in 15 2/3 innings. No game for the O's on Monday. Next up for them is a 3-game series against the Pittsburgh Pirates at Oriole Park at Camden Yards. Game 1 Tuesday evening at 6:35. Game 2 Wednesday evening at 6:35. Game 3 Thursday afternoon at 1:05. The O's have not yet announced their starting pitchers for the series. And that'll do it for you and me for now. Keep the feedback coming. You can hit me up on X at Al Galdi. You can email me the Al Galdi podcast at yahoo.com. Tuesday's show, episode 1151. We'll have plenty for you on the Commanders. Also on Tuesday's show, I'll talk Nationals. The Nats are at the Miami Marlins Monday evening at 6:40 in Game 1 of a 4-game series. Have a great rest of your Monday, and I'll talk to you on Tuesday.
Hey, we called on it to be a line of scrimmage game, and it damn sure was. All right? And we said that's how it's got to go down. It's a good division win, man. We thought all the way at the end, all right, for a 4-minute drive, that's running, that's hitting, that's brotherhood, and it's winning time. All right, so sleep fast. Wednesday's tomorrow.
Honey, do not make plans Saturday, September 13th, okay?
Why? What's happening?
The Walmart Wellness Event. Flu shots, health screenings, free samples from those brands you like.
All that at Walmart.
We can just walk right in, no appointment needed. Who knew we could cover our health and wellness needs at Walmart?
Check the calendar, Saturday, September 13th.
Walmart Wellness Event. You knew.
I knew.
Check in on your health at the same place you already shop. Visit Walmart Saturday, September 13th for our semi-annual wellness event. Flu shot subject to availability and applicable state law. Age restrictions apply. Free samples while supplies last.